Okay, good evening everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abam. We're continuing in Daf Hashavua. We're learning Daf Samach Gimel Amud Aleph. We're 4 lines from the bottom on Samach Beis Amud Beis. Amazingly, tonight we have the story of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva Raya de Ben Kaba Savua Hava. Rabbi Akiva was the shepherd of Ben Kaba Savua. And Kaba Savua was one of the wealthy people in Yerushalayim. He was called Kaba Savua. Anyone who entered his house ravenous like a dog would exit satisfied. Chazisa, so obviously he was an ignoramus, he was not a professional. It was a very menial job, which means he wasn't successful, not in learning and not financially. Chazisa Barte Dahavat Snio Mali. Kaba Savua's daughter saw that he was modest and of good character. So obviously she noticed something in him, which is pretty amazing because he obviously was not successful in learning, but his good character gave her the premonition that he has potential. Amrale, she says to me, if I marry you, will you go learn? Amrala in. He said yes. Ikad shalei b'tzina. He married her privately, because there's no way as they say, there's no way the old man would have gone for this. No way Kaba Savua would have gone for this. Vishadarta. She sent him to learn. Shama Avua, her father heard that she married him. Apko mi beise, and he kicked him out of the house. He kicked her out of the house. Ajra hana mi nichse. He made a neder that he's not going to give hana to his daughter. Azul Yosef Trey Sarishnen Bebe Rav. He went and he sat for 12 years in the academy of Rav, meaning by the Rebbi. So he went to learn for 12 years. Tosfos asks a very interesting question. Tosfos asks, how could you say that Rabbi Akiva was of good character, he was modest, and he was of good personality, but the Gemara Psachim says that Rabbi Akiva says that when I was in Am Haaretz, I would say, who would give me a Talmid Chacham, I'll bite him like a donkey. That's mashma. He was not good midah. He did not have good midas. Tosfos says it's not because he hated Talmid Chachamim. It's because he thought that the Talmid Chacham were arrogant and they would be boastful over Amei Haaretz. Memela, he didn't like the Talmid Chachamim, and he thought the Talmid Chacham hated Amei Haaretz. Also, the Talmid Chacham did not let Amei Haaretz touch them, because we say Big Day Amei Haaretz are Tamei Midras. But he was a Shomer Mitzvah. So in other words, Rabbi Akiva was an Orthodox Jew, but he did not think highly of Talmid Chachamim. Did not like them. Basically, Rabbi Akiva went away to learn for 12 years. Ki asa, when he came back, Aisi Badei Trei Sari Alfi Talmidei. He brought with him 12,000 students. So after 12 years, he had 12,000 Talmidim. Shamei lahu Saba de Ka'amarla. He overheard a certain old man say to his wife, Ad kama medaberes almanos chayim. For how long will you continue to live like a living? For how long will you live as a living widow? So Amrale, she said to him, Ila didit sayis, if my husband would listen to me, Yosef Tare Sri Shani Achwini, he would sit for another 12 years. Amar, so Rabbi Akiva says, Bershuska Avidna. I'm going to go now with permission. Hadar Azal, he then went, V'yasav, and he sat Shrei Sari Shani for another 12 years. Achrini.
Who was this old man? Who was the old man speaking to her?
We don't know. The Gemara doesn't say. Who was he? You don't know, was this Eliyahu? Was this, I don't know. It seems like he wasn't doing a good thing, right? He was trying to discourage her. But he did instigate that she should say he should go for another 12 years. So he ended up doing something very good. He ended up creating Rabbi Akiva. If not for that old man, then Rabbi Akiva would have sufficed with 12,000 students. Okay. Ki asa, when he came, Aisi bahadei esen ra'arba alfei talmidei. This time, when he learned for another 12 years, he had 24,000 students. Shama debisu, his wife heard that he was coming. Have a kanafka ala ape. So she went out to greet him. Amrula shivivasa, the neighbor said to her, Sha'ali money lavash v'chsai, borrow some decent clothing and cover yourself. Meaning you're going out in public to greet your husband, so you should dress the part. You need to wear something appropriate. Amra lahu, she said to him, Yoideyat sadik nefesh behemtai. The righteous man knows the soul of his animal. In other words, a tzaddik knows that his wife suffices with little, and therefore he won't hold it against me. Kimata legabe, when she reached him, nafa al apa, she fell on her face, kamanash gale lekare, and she kissed his feet. Kimata legabe. So when she reached him, she fell on her face and she kissed him. She kissed his feet. Havaka madchila shame. So his attendants were pushing her away. Amar lahu, he said to them, Shavkuha, let her be. She said to her, let her be. She said to her, let her be. In other words, don't stop her. Why? Shali v'shalchem shala. Because my learning and your learning, it's all hers. So basically, apparently they wanted to stop her. They didn't think this was like appropriate public conduct. And Rabbi Akiva says, let it be. Whatever we have, whatever I have, whatever you have, it's because of her. You know, it's interesting, Rabbi Akiva was the one who said that Kol Hashiurim Kodesh, Shir Hashiurim Kodesh Kodashim. All songs are holy. The song of songs is holy of holies. There were Tanoim that wanted to bury Shir Hashiurim. And Rabbi Akiva says, no, not only can we not bury it, some Tanoim wanted to say Shir Hashiurim is not Metames Hayadayim. Right? We know that Kisvei HaKodesh renders the hands impure. Rabbi Akiva says, no, Shir Hashiurim definitely renders the hands impure. It's the holiest of all the songs. Other Tanoim felt that to describe the love between Hashem and Klal Yisrael as the love between a husband and wife, it downgrades, it in a way sullies our relationship with Hashem, because how could it be couched in the terms of the love between a husband and wife? But Rabbi Akiva knew the sanctified love there could be between husband and wife. Rabbi Akiva experienced that through the proper love between a husband and wife, a person could rise to the highest levels. So Rabbi Akiva was the one who taught Klal Yisrael the holiness of Shir Hashiurim, that there's nothing holier than describing the love between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Knesset Yisrael as a love between a husband and a wife. Anyway, this is what Rabbi Akiva says, Shali v'shalachem shala. Shama Avua, so her father heard, Kabasua heard, the Asagav Rabba, that great person was coming, Lamasa, to the city. Amar, so he said, Ezel legabe, let me go to him. Efshar de mefer nederai, maybe it could be mefer my neder. Because Kabasua felt bad that he asered his daughter in Hana. He wanted to be able to benefit her. Also legabe, so he comes to Rabbi Akiva, not knowing this is his son-in-law. Amar le, he says to him, Adaita degaver Rabba mida darta, with the intent of a great man, did you make a nether? In other words, you assered your daughter in Hana because you didn't like the husband that she married. You thought he was an ignoramus. But if you would have known that he would be a great man, would you have made the nether? And Kesuvos says, Amar le afilu parak echad. If I would have known that he could learn even one parak, v'afilu halacha achas. If I would have known he could learn even one halacha, I never would have made the nether. Amar le, Rabbi Akiva said, Anahu. I'm the guy. I'm that husband who you said to your wife that you aser her in Hana. Nafal alape, he fell on his face. Kesuvos fell on the face of Rabbi Akiva, on his face. V'nashke al kari, he kissed Rabbi Akiva's foot. V'yahav le pagam imayne, and he gave him half of his money. So,
just like his wife did.
Yeah, just like his wife. Maybe he kissed the other foot, but yeah, exactly. So the Gemara continues. The Gemara had there's amazing Tosfos here. One of the most important Tosfos. Tosfos, the top Tosfos, asks that how was Rabbi Akiva made for the nether? Rabbi Akiva was made for the nether because he said if you would have known that this son-in-law would have turned out to be a great person, you never would have made a nether. Frak Tosfos, you're not allowed to be Poiseach benoilad. In Masechta Nedarim it teaches that a Pesach, based on a circumstance that arises after the fact, is not a valid way to be made for Nedarim. So how could Rabbi Akiva be made for the nether? Well, if you would have known he would be a great man. But he wasn't a great man. He became a great man. So that's a new factor. That's not a way to be made for a nether. A way to be made for nether is if there was something you were unaware of at the time you made the nether, so it's not a valid nether. There's nothing that Kesuvos wasn't aware of. He knew exactly who Rabbi Akiva was, that he was an ignoramus. Happens to be Rabbi Akiva turned it around, but that's a new circumstance. You can't be made for based on a new circumstance. Tosfos says no, it's not a new circumstance. This is not considered a new circumstance. Why not? Says Tosfos, Kivan shahalach lebeirav, since he went to the house of the Rebbi, the derechu, it is typical. If you go and dedicate yourself to learning, shenasa adam gadol, that you'll become a great person. This was not a new circumstance. Rabbi Akiva went to the yeshiva. If you go and you dedicate yourself to learning, so then you're going to become great. This was not that Rabbi Akiva, a new circumstance arose. No. Rabbi Akiva went to yeshiva. So this is not a noilad. This is not something new that developed. This is the trajectory of someone who is in the yeshiva dedicated to learning. Okay.
So the fact that he was already planning to go for X amount of years already made him into a Talmid Chacham?
Yeah, so it made it that his developing into a Talmid Chacham was not a new circumstance that developed, but that's what was sort of could be anticipated. So maybe Hashavua didn't realize, but that's not called noilad. Noilad when something develops sort of out of the blue. This didn't develop out of the blue.
The Rav gave a shir before the Siyam Shas that if somebody accepts now to finish Shas, it's as if they finish Shas right now.
Right. Well,
so the same idea. If you're going to yeshiva to learn, so right now you're considered a Talmid Chacham, already lemafreya.
Yeah. So here Tosfos is saying that you're considered an Adam Gadol, right? You're considered a great person. So it means that you put yourself in a trajectory so that the Lamda says that you developing into an Adam Gadol is not considered noilad. It's not considered a new thing that developed. It's not something that developed out of the. You put yourself in that program. Says the Gemara Vayter.
The water dripping on the rock.
Right. That's an Avos to Reb Nosson. There also talks about how Lamaisa, how did they support themselves if Kaba Savua made Asr them Bahana. Barte de Rabbi Akiva, the daughter of Rabbi Akiva, Avdole leben Azai Hachi. She did the same kind of thing for Ben Azai, meaning she, the daughter of, she basically let him go learn. V'hainu da'amri inshi, this is what people say, Rechela basa Rechela Azra. One ram goes after the other. Or actually, Rabbi Akiva's wife was Rachel. Ka'oiv de'ima ka'oiv de'barta. Like the manner of the mother is like the manner of the daughter. Okay. Rabbi Yosef Brei de Rava, Rabbi Yosef the son of Rava, Shadrei Avui lebei Rav. Her father sent her to the house, his father sent him to the house of Rav, meaning to the yeshiva, lekame de Rabbi Yosef, before Rabbi Yosef. Meaning Rabbi Yosef, the son of Rava, was sent to learn by Rabbi Yosef. Paskule shishne. They made up, they'll support him for 6 years. Ki have a tlashni, when 3 years were up, mata male yom kippur. It came Erev Yom Kippur. Amar, so Rabbi Yosef said, Ezel v'achazin l'in shebesa, I'm going to go appear to the residents of my house. His father got very angry. Shama avui. His father got heard. Shakal mana, he took a weapon. V'nafak la'ape, and he went out toward him. Hey, he said, why are you being mavato from your learning? Amar le, he said to him, Zainasach niskarta. Did you remember your harlot? Meaning what? You couldn't restrain yourself? You're coming home because you want to take care of your needs? Ika da amri, some say no. Amar le, he said to him, Yainasach niskarta. You remembered your dove. You're being faithful to your mate. Itra, they got so caught up in the argument. Loy mar ivsik, v'loy mar ivsik. Neither one had the sudas hamafsekes. They got very caught up in the sudas hamafsekes, in arguing about whether this was the appropriate thing to do. Okay, new sugya. Hamoy Reda, says the Mishnah, Abaila, a woman who rebels against her husband, we detract, we diminish from her ksuba. Shiva dinar b'Shabbos, 7 dinar a week, a dinar a day. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shiva tar pikin, 7 tar pikin. Ad masayhu paiches. Until when do we continue to diminish? Ad keneged ksubas, until we diminish and mitigate the whole ksuba. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi says, L'olam hu paiches v'haylech. We continue to diminish even when she's already depleted her ksuba. Why? Because maybe she'll inherit something from somewhere else. So goiva himena, he could collect from it. So in other words, she's going to lose 7 dinar a week, and even after all 200 dinar are depleted, we continue to make a cheshbon, maybe she'll inherit from somewhere else. However, she does not diminish from the nechasim she brings into the marriage. V'chein hamoyer alisha, someone who rebels against his wife, moisifin ksuba, so we add to her ksuba shloisha dinar b'Shabbos, 3 dinar a week. Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Yehuda says shloisha tarpikin, 3 tarpik. So the Gemara now wants to know, what does it mean we diminish? What does it mean she rebels? What does it mean she's rebelling? What is she not doing? Myredes mimai, what is she rebelling from? Says the Gemara, Rav Huda Amar mitasha shamita. She doesn't want to have relations. So she's rebelling. So we basically diminish 7 dinar a week until she diminishes the Oksura. Chanina Amar mimalacha. She doesn't want to work. Says the Gemara, Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, V'chein ha'morid al-ishtay. If a man rebels against his wife, Bishlam l'manda mitashmish, Bishlam according to the man Amar, it's from relations, L'chai, all is fine and good. L'manda Amar mimalacha, but according to the man Amar, that he's rebelling from, she's rebelling from work. So what would it mean? He's rebelling against her from work? Mi meshubed la? Does he have to work for her? Yes, so says the Gemara, but Omer eni zon ve'eni mefarnes, where he says, I will not support her and I will not sustain her. So he's responsible to do that. That's what it means. That he's rebelling from work. What do you mean? So then if he's rebelling by not working, then we add on to her ksuba 3 dinar a Shabbos? But doesn't he have to divorce her? Doesn't Rav say someone who says Eini zan ve'in mefarnes, he goes out and he gives a ksuba, he divorces her and gives a ksuba? Says the Gemara, well, ultimately, if he's not going to support her, he has to give a ksuba. But we're going to have a conversation with him, and in the meantime, we're going to penalize him by adding on to the ksuba. Says the Gemara, don't we need to converse with him and discuss it with him? So in the interim, we're going to fine him and add to the ksuba. Fine.
We also said that if you have to divorce her if it's stam, after a week or two. That was last Mishnah. Why isn't the same kasha?
Where did I see this question? Tosfos, bottom line of Tosfos, bottom 2 lines. Rabasi Tosfos says, "V'im timer lamad amra mitashmish nami tiksha dar karchach moyer mitashmish nami koifen lahaitzi da atu la'olam yasiva ksuvasa v'tisagin koyameha." On Tashmish, we could have also asked that doesn't he have to divorce her? So Tosfos says it could have said back ula tamech, and according to you, how would it make sense for Tashmish? And I guess for Tashmish we would also have to say we converse with him. So I guess maybe for Tashmish, if the guy's a 6-month captain or a camel driver, in the meantime, we would penalize him. But if he says, I'm not going to support her, what's she going to eat? Maybe, in other words, it sounds like the Gemara felt it's more pashut, we're going to have a conversation with him, legabe tashmish, because it's not like, her life is on the line. So in the meantime, we'll penalize him until we could work it out. And if we can't, of course, he'll have to divorce her. But maybe there's no conversation really when it comes to work, because if he's not going to support her, how's she supposed to live? And the Gemara says, even so, in the meantime, we don't do it drastically. Okay. Weiter. Says the Gemara. Let me just. Says the Gemara, Meisvei, Achasli, Arusa unasua va'afilo nida va'afil chayla. There's no difference if a woman rebels, whether she's an Arusa, who says, I'm not going to do Nasuin, a Nasua, did Nasuin, va'afilo nida, va'afilo chayla, va'afilo shomeras yavam. Bishlam, according to the one that says that a moiredes doesn't want to work, shaper, then it comes out good. Because in all these cases, if she doesn't want to work, no matter what the relationship is, so then the halacha is she's a Mayredes. Elamandam Tashmish. But if it's from Tashmish, what do you mean there's no difference whether she's a Nida? Nida Bas Tashmishi? Is a Nida capable of Tashmish? Why would she be a Mayredes if the Nida says she doesn't want to have Tashmish? Says Gemara, Amar Lacha, Einoi Daima Mishiesh Le Pas Basala. There's no comparison someone who has bread in his basket and someone who doesn't. Even though neither can have tashmish, but if she says she's not going to, so then he has no pas basala, even though right now he can anyway. Because at least he knows the time will come that he can. Says Gemara, Bishlama Lamanda Amra mi Tashmish. Bishlama, according to the Manda Amra who says it's from Tashmish, Hainu Diktani Chayla. That's why it says a Chayla. Why? A Chayla is able to have Tashmish. El Manda Amra mi Malacha, but according to the Manda Amar from work, Chayla bas malachi is a woman who's a chayla able to work. So why is she considered rebelling? So this indicates that clearly Moiredes is from Tashmish. Says Gemara, Elami Tashkol Amaloi Pligi, Dihi Moiredes. Everyone agrees that if she doesn't want to have Tashmish, she's a Moiredes. Ki pligi mimalacha. The machlokes says if she doesn't want to work, is that a moiredes? Mar savra mimalacha loy have moiredes. One man damar holds that if she doesn't want to work, she's considered rebelling. Mar savra mimalacha nami having sorry mimalacha loy have moiredes. The first one opinion holds if she doesn't want to work, she's not considered rebelling. Mar savra mimalacha nami having moiredes. And the other man damar holds that refraining from malacha is also moiredes. Okay, Rabbi said, let's hold it here. Have a good night, everyone. Bracha v'hatzlacha, kol tov. Good night. Thank you, everyone.